We are Elsa and Barron. We're in our 8th year of living off-grid. 6 of those years we lived in a 13-foot camper, saving all of our money to buy the 40-acre off-grid property that we now live on. And we're building our very own home of our dreams with our very own hands. After so many months of back and forth, the batteries for our home solar kit have arrived.
He said, it's corporate America, bro. They don't give a shit.
About not delivering or what?
No, just about the whole thing. Like sending him back here in that giant semi-truck is like not what you want to do.
The batteries were in transit for almost 3 weeks because they were so heavy they had to be delivered on a full-size semi-truck. We live pretty deep in the middle of nowhere on miles and miles of dirt roads. The first 2 delivery drivers just entirely opted out of delivery once they realized where we were. On this day, Barron had to call multiple times to make sure the driver didn't bail, and thankfully he arrived and departed without a problem. Thank you to Battleborn for providing these batteries for us in exchange for video content, and thank you Rich Solar for the panels.
Just need your help with the inverter.
We're so used to living this way in a remote off-grid location that we forget to talk about stuff like this. That off-grid living is not always dreamy, like it's kind of advertised to be.
FedEx said, "So you build that house yourself, Barron?" He said, "Yes, I did."
It takes a lot of hard work because we are maintaining every aspect of our lives on our own. There's no professional to call when the water line breaks or the well pump malfunctions. No one is coming to pick up our trash. It's almost an hour drive to the local hardware store if we need one little screw to fix a project. Like for real, the closest Home Depot is 3 hours away. And receiving packages is hit or miss depending on the conditions of the dirt roads and apparently how the driver is feeling that day. I am gearing up to release a full video about the harsh realities of off-grid living in the next month or 2 once we get our solar installed, and I think that you're gonna find it pretty fascinating.
Well, that's quite a nice one.
Game changer 3.0. Battleborn, born.
270 amp hours!
We're gonna have 20 kilowatt hours more power than we currently have.
That's a lot.
We currently have 6, and we're gonna have 26. I hope the Bluetooth works good. I think it's a good idea, but if it doesn't work good, then it'll be a pain in the butt.
Have I been walking around with toothpaste on my shirt all day?
I thought it was a mushroom.
It is mushroom on top. Oh, you thought the whole thing?
Yeah, it's connected. I thought the mushroom had just faded.
Well, happy accident, I suppose. I'm just opening up this package from Dara. Dara has sent us this before, and this is kind of a funny thing. It's a routine gift that we receive from a handful of subscribers, or that we have in our history of being on YouTube. People from Vermont are so proud of their syrup that they love to send it to us, and I love that. I love that. I could not be more grateful. Dara has sent us...
I don't know. I don't know if it's been her the whole time, or...
Yeah, well, she's been most recent.
Yeah, the most frequent, I think, right?
Bob from Vermont.
Oh, I forgot. Let me see what brand it is.
St. Johnsbury, Vermont. Anyway, people love to send us maple syrup. Thank you so much, Dara. Dang. Maple Grove Farms 100% pure maple syrup. Dark and robust. Maple leaf cookies, butternut.
Okay, we had this question or this discussion earlier today. When you picture...
Do you really?
Yeah, okay, listen. When you picture maple syrup, just off the cuff, what kind of tree do you associate it with in your head? I know a maple tree is not a pine tree, but in my head, I picture like a Christmas tree for where maple syrup comes from, even though I know that that's not the case.
You're a lot more exposed to pine trees than deciduous hardwood trees.
Well, now, but
Right.
I feel like since I was a kid, I feel like in pictures and stuff, it's like Christmas Tree Association. Am I the only one? Tell me I'm the only one if I'm the only one. Buckwheat!
Honey buckwheat pancake waffle mix.
Buckwheat!
Maple sugar!
Maple sugar!
Girl! Ooh! Maple drops, shaped like maple leaves. Wow, I haven't opened a fun package in a long time, it feels like. Maple balsamic vinaigrette. Wow, maple syrup. Ooh, grating sampler. Holy moly. Pure maple butter. This is just thick maple syrup, right? Holy moly. What a fun surprise. Thank you again, Dara. So there's this game that Barron has played, what, a million times.
Well, I've played all the different versions of it except for the new one.
He has pulled wisdom from this game into our lives time and time again. It taught him so much about managing people, managing populations, not that we have
Not that we do that.
populations to manage, but it's been such an informative game for so many reasons.
Just to understand how different factions can influence choices that politicians make, and how different edicts that they could issue have a ripple effect, and it's kind of slapsticky or like tongue-in-cheek, where they'll lean into kind of the ridiculousness of it. Fluoride, for example, when you put fluoride in the water on your island, it will make your people a little bit dumber, and it will lower their likelihood of revolt. So they become a little bit more docile and a little less intelligent. Free education does certain things, free birth control does certain things. So you can just like see how all of these different ideas have a ripple effect on a population.
The game is called Tropico.
We were talking about Tropico in the car today when we were talking about the state of the world and stuff, and I always like to say, well, if I was the island dictator, to frame it in a way that you can understand it, depending on how you want the ship to go, I guess.
And so because there is kind of a lot going on in the world, we thought that we would download this game just for funsies
Yeah.
and play it together.
And then I can kind of show you what I'm talking about generally. Okay, we gotta choose an outfit. Should our dictator's name be Veronica? Yes, right?
Yeah.
So it's not technically a dictator. It depends on how you choose to like rule.
Right.
You can be a like president or like an anarchist or whatever you want to be.
Okay.
I like to rule in a fairly libertarian way. Have a very tiny, badass government. Let the people do kind of whatever they want. Free press, which can be like super difficult. A lot of times it's easier if you rule in a hyper-militaristic way.
I like the green.
The soldier outfit, I do too. Lipstick color.
Black. Anarchy.
We have to like beat parts of the game so we can unlock special traits.
There's charismatic, compulsive hoarder, kind of normal, manipulative, savant. I want to be a savant. Veronica is seductive. Increases the approval of citizens that are sexually attracted to El Presidente by 3, and likewise decreases approval of citizens not sexually attracted to El Presidente by -3.
How do you want to, like, do you want to have a lot of people or a few people? Do you want to have,
Very few.
and do you want to just have like a farming community or like a capitalist society?
No. Can we destruct things?
Yeah.
We should bulldoze this terrible palace.
You can't.
You have to have that
Yeah, you
palace.
have to have the palace. And it's the one you designed.
Well, I could pick the windows and the shrubs, but I didn't really design it.
I wanted to see what livestock we could run. Crocodiles, cattle, sheep, pigs, goats.
Goats?
Crocodiles, that's wild. I guess for leather.
Oh.
Sugar, cocoa, tobacco, banana, pineapple, coffee, cotton, and rubber.
I remember you always being so proud of your islands and trying to give me a tour, and
it just, when you don't know what's going on.
Yeah, it
like,
doesn't.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
how'd you find out about this game originally?
It's been around for a long time. It's one of the more popular games in like I guess it could be considered a real-time strategy game, RTS.
What I was asking earlier is, wouldn't a country want their population to be educated and well-fed and strong
Well, it depends on what you're trying to do.
Well, what would happen if that was the case, where we give them
Well,
the ability to educate themselves?
Well, then they want elections, and they're actually informed on what's going on in the elections, and they'll want like high-level things that serve them well because they're educated. Like, you can't just put down a sports stadium and then have everybody be happy. Like, they'll vote you out of office. They'll know when you're doing like mafioso type stuff. Like, they'll catch on, like if you kill one of the rebel leaders, then your people will catch on if they're educated. And they'll like set up a revolt.
So as an El Presidente, we don't want our population actually to be that smart.
Well, it depends on what kind of like situation you want to have. Like, I normally like to have my population be super educated and grow the population slowly so that they can all have good jobs, and then I just import, until I have like colleges and stuff, I just import the like higher ed type people.
Bring the experts.
Yeah, until I can like make experts on my own. But then, as long as like all your parameters are good, your freedom levels are high, then when the election comes around, you'll get elected. Whereas if you start doing things that don't appease people, but then you have like different factions, like the loyalists or like the hippies, and if you don't do like some sort of legalistic stuff, then the loyalists will be like, what the heck? You know? Or like the patriot crowd that's like super, yeah. Okay, the crown is, so this is Great Britain, or like, they don't say that, but that's what it is. Fulfill a trade route with the crown.
Well, what the heck do they want?
Huh. Cyber Operations Center? Spy Academy, Commando Garrison. Ooh.
I want to start some shit like that.
Well, we gotta like, we gotta like export some bananas before we start a cybersecurity lab, okay?
I just want to see what happens when these
Well,
things
when it
happen.
like starts getting exciting.
Ooh, I want to build a pyramid.
Okay, we have 3 homeless citizens, so we could build a
Scamp?
scamp, yes, and then we will house all 3 people. So something you can do, you can bribe, kill, arrange, accident, arrest, or institutionalize to like the faction leader. It's pretty realistic.
Yeah.
So I tend to like, if I'm struggling to like win an election, I'll just bribe the rebel leader,
I see.
and then it's like, and then they'll be like, okay, Veronica's all right. We're not pissed. Have a pirate cove.
Okay.
Are we with it? Are we
Seems
gonna?
important.
Okay, we gotta be careful about like the just fun chaos decisions.
Well,
that we
isn't this a quest? She wants us to build it.
Yeah, it is, but we can say no.
Oh.
But then our revolutionary standing will drop. I don't know, if we like govern right, like if we have things going on that the revolutionaries like free press and all that kind of stuff, and like don't get too capitalistically oriented, then they'll be tight with us.
These types of games, it's like when I played Fallout and I accidentally shot someone and everyone came after me.
Yeah, they're like high consequence.
Yeah.
But that's what makes it fun.
Oh, I didn't realize that was fun.
Well, it's like, I don't know, in like older games or less simulation oriented games, you can just do whatever you want and it just doesn't matter. You know?
But I'm not much of a gamer, so for it to be a little easier is helpful. Hop up!
Hop up.
Good
Boy,
boy.
lay down. Lay down. Pilot, hush.
What are you working on?
I'm still doing solar research so I can decide what all we need to order. Yeah, it's been quite a lot of learning these last couple weeks, just trying to get all this figured out. Just today, I had been like putting it off and trying not to think about it, but just today I was talking to my buddy Travis, and he brought up the idea of installing our solar controller and inverter combo package, the Solarc, outside. And I had considered that when we first were looking into it, because it'll put off heat and the fans will be loud. I tried to just shove that down and ignore it, and then it came back up, and I think that's probably what we should do. I don't know. It's just every single component takes like a day of research at least, so it's just been a lot of geeking out on all this stuff.
I was just telling Barron that I should start wearing makeup for videos because it seems to do better when I wear makeup in thumbnails. But not today.
At least you got your wolf shirt.
At least I'm already cute as I am. 100% of the time. There's something in this house that I've been putting off for a long time. Not for any reason in particular. Today I'm gonna tackle finishing this drywall mud. Hopefully finishing.
Did it. I think it looks really nice. Once we get the ceiling done, this place will look totally different. We're still kind of kicking around how exactly to do that, but we're kind of thinking we'll use the same thing that we used on the back wall. Now I gotta try to finish this stripe, and it's super tedious and annoying, and it's more of an Elsa job than a Barron job. I'm taking a break. I feel like I have most of the research finished that I need to do for the solar stuff. So I'm gonna order all the parts and tools tonight. And yesterday, I started up the Subaru for the first time in maybe a week or week and a half, just to keep the battery charged and make sure it's running good. And when I got inside after letting it run for a minute, the fan for the AC was making all kinds of noise, and I immediately turned it off. And then when I turned it back on, no air would blow out of it. So I'm assuming that rodents got into something. I don't know where within the system they are, but there's probably either a rat or a mouse nest in the HVAC system somewhere. So I'm gonna try to figure that out, and I couldn't be more thrilled. So here we go. There is some evidence in here of someone building a house. Not a crazy amount of destroyed things. I always leave the hood popped because that tends to keep them out of it, but I don't know. The air is on and should be blowing, but it's not. There's no sign of mice in here. They probably worked their way into the cabin air filter. I don't know. Let's make sure that the pulleys are spinning. Yeah, they are. And this motor runs really loud, but it's not knocking on the computer or anything. It's run really loud ever since we swapped it in. It's a IAG motor, and supposedly they make a little bit more noise when they run. Okay, I'm gonna start disassembling things. Shredded paper under here. Not ideal. Not what you want, bud. Gross. Oh, you bastards. Yuck, I need some gloves and a mask. It's like every 6 months, rodents cause like a catastrophic, well, hopefully this isn't catastrophic, but like this is a problem. This is why I've been saying we need a garage, but we just can't afford to build one right now. And I've tried all the sprays and the mothballs and the whole thing, putting lights out here. They just get used to whatever you do and then just push past it. I need to just set out a bucket trap every night, but that's gross. And I don't want to have to kill them all, but I just have to kill them all. That's like the only. I know some rodents out here can carry hantavirus, so I'm gonna play it safe and put a respirator on. Yuck, man. Well, I figured out what happened. There's a fan right there, a turbine, and one of the mice fell down into it. And I was just reaching in there to see if I could get debris out. And I think when I turned the air on the other day, what I heard clunking was the mouse getting killed in the turbine of the fan. Hopefully it didn't fry the fan, but it probably did. The only other thing I can think of, maybe the fuse for the fan blew when it was trying to overpower the mouse that was stuck in it. I don't know which fan on the fuse box, like, is it the main fan, the sub fan, fan 2, fan 1? Gotta Google it. Hi. Elsa, I'm filming. Keep it down. Today I'm gonna get all of our panels hooked together. All the panels are gonna be wired in series, and when you wire things in series, the voltage is additive and the amperage stays the same. When you wire things in parallel, the amperage is additive and the voltage stays the same. Being a 48 volt system, our solar controller requires fairly high voltage for it to click on. If I add all of the voltages together of all the panels, it'll give us enough voltage to operate the, oh, there's a bird nest, to operate the solar controller. Okay, hopefully that's clear as mud. I'm gonna climb up there and show you what we got going on. So each of these are 250 watt panels. This is 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 watts of solar. Like I said, we're gonna wire them in series.
Living off-grid means we are without connection to the power grid, and in our case, without connection to the water grid either. We have no option to be connected to the power grid, unless we want to pay for the poles to reach out to our property, which would easily cost over 100 grand. We did, actually, for real, weigh this option in the beginning. I don't know about Barron, but to me, the idea of building an entire house with only portable batteries charged by small solar panels seemed fairly impossible. This is actually one of the reasons why we bought a full Ryobi kit of tools, because they had their own batteries that we could recharge, versus hauling around our big batteries with tools that had power cords. And those corded power tools oftentimes pulled way more power than we could handle anyway, because they're more powerful tools. But alas, we did it. We built a house with no on-grid power, and I think that that's quite impressive. If everything goes according to plan, these solar panels should help bring in enough electricity for us to power a washing machine, all our kitchen appliances, our office space, and anything that a normal house would power. But it's solar, so we will always and forever have to be aware of our usage and be aware of the weather. We might not be able to run high-powered appliances at night when we're not bringing in any power, and we might have to hold off on doing laundry during long snowstorms. But even with this reasonable hindrance, the only thing able to dictate our electricity is the sky. And over the last 7.5 years off-grid, that's been a comforting and beautiful way to live.
The ribs in the roof and all the roof screws make the unistrut twist, so then I can't get it to line up. It's a new day, and the other night I got the Subaru figured out that it was the blower that had burned up when the mouse fell into it. I checked all of the circuits and everything, and it wasn't them, it was right at the blower, and I'll show you how I verified that here in a second. I just got the part that I needed and the new cabin air filter, so I'm gonna go ahead and install that now. So that's what hasn't been working, but apparently it's decided that it's gonna work now. Really what I should have done is just pulled the blower, which is the cabin air fan, and then pulled my multimeter, put it against that, and measured voltage to it, because then I would know that I didn't have a fuse blown or anything. Because if there was a fuse blown, then when I turned on the air, it wouldn't put 12 volt to the blower. Instead, I checked all of the fuses and relays first, which was kind of a waste of time. But here's how to check it, like to begin with. Here's my trusty multimeter. To check my voltage, I click it over here and then hit select, so then it's in DC mode, and then I can put the pins up to one to the blower, and then the other, actually the brown will, or the black will go to the ground, and the ground is just like like the door jamb is a good piece of metal to ground it to. It's just like a raw piece of metal in the car. While I'm here though, I got a new tool set that I think is just the coolest. So this is made by Wira. This is not an advertisement, but these guys are just really super cool. I think it's a German company, but anyway, you have all of your different bits that you could possibly need. Sockets that have, they're color coded, and they have like a grippy edge along the bottom so that you can spin them by hand. Comes with a micro screwdriver, and then this little guy is so cool because then like when you're in a spot you can hold tension on it and spin this. You can also use that with the little ratchet, and this is like an ultra fine tooth ratchet, so when you click it, it can click like little tiny increments, so if you're in a really tight space you can still ratchet things. And then on the front of it, it's got these teeth so that you can just spin it by hand if you need to. It's just like a super nice micro tool set that fits in my fanny pack and has most everything I need. I won't lose stuff because it's all right here. It's super cool. I'll leave a link to it in the description, but I'm just excited about this is all. I love like little tiny geeky shit like that. Okay. Let's check the voltage. Now it's on DC mode. I don't know if you can see that now. Yeah, see 14.4 volts. So it should be spinning right now, but it ain't. So we're gonna replace it. Or is that just the base? Oh, it's different. No. I checked the part number and everything. Oh, that sucks. Now I gotta return this stupid thing. I might just run to town and see if I can pick one up in town, but very unlikely. Okay. After some Googling, I realized what the issue is. Since the Subi has automatic climate control, it needs a different blower motor. So I think I'm just gonna cut off the wiring harness and forego the climate control and directly wire it to the pins on the new blower. The climate controlled blower motor is $400 versus this one that's $30. I don't feel like we need climate control. I'm gonna unplug the battery. I need to get to these prongs, so I'm gonna cut this to make them a little more accessible. Should just be able to touch the wires that I stripped to this and see if it'll spin. I don't have a soldering iron, and I think without drilling through those tabs, that's about the only way to do it. So I'm gonna have James bring his soldering iron over, see if he thinks this is a good idea or not. Whoa! Hola!
we want it going this way. We want the air coming out of the sides of this.
Do we? For sure?
Because it's got to pull in here.
It always does that after I unplug the battery.
Okay, this goes to this side.
It goes just how it is there. Okay, I'm gonna unplug the battery.
Okay, so what we need to do is just solder this on. Is that right?
The worst case I can imagine is that it will just, if it's on, it'll blow full blast. Like I won't be able to turn the fan down.
Well, that's probably what it'll be. Yes. Okay.
Okay, I'm gonna go grab the battery.
Did I hit you?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yikes.
Did I hit you?
Yeah.
Sorry.
My poor thumb.
This is here. See there, I did it to myself just to prove I wasn't mad at you. Okay, I think it's on there. This lifestyle, there's a whole lot more involved to it than people realize. You know what I mean?
Like this kind of stupid
Yeah,
shit.
right. But you can't afford to hire somebody to come out and do all this stuff. You can't take your stuff to town every time you want a little something done. But you know, if you hire everything done, you can't afford it.
Right.
It's
Some
just-
can.
Huh?
Some can.
Well, but they can afford that. They can afford not to live like this.
If you can afford all that, then what are you doing out here?
Huh?
If you can afford all that, then what are you doing out here?
That's right. And I know about how that would go. They wouldn't put up with all this crap if they had the money. Unless they just absolutely are.
Hard up.
Well, you know, some of us are kind of hard-headed.
Okay, here we go. Let's see. Oh yeah, bud. She's blowing cold. It's blowing harder than it's ever blown, that's for sure. It's turbocharged. That's hilarious. Okay, excellent.
All right, you did
Thank you, yay.
Glad I could help you. That was fun.
You just got hit for the pump. You missed all the cussing. Thank you.
Well, I had plenty of cussing at home. Green was so upset this afternoon.
Thanks for watching. We'll see you guys next time.